Welcome back, Budget Wargamers. We are back with another edition, and today we're going to talk about some more Idoneth Deepkin because there's been some more announcements and teasers out there on the Warhammer community website. One from a couple days ago talking about the different monsters and war beasts. Another one that talks about the following week's upcoming pre-orders and some sneak peeks at the stats of those Idoneth Deepkin. Currently on the hobby table, we've got a few things going on just to bring you guys up to speed. We've got some of the Star Wars Legion Stormtroopers, got those primed in a flat white. We're going to do potentially a painting video on those. I'm going to do a test miniature and see if there's a quick and dirty way to get those painted up. For continuing to build on my Legio Custodes, Adeptus Custodes, whatever you guys want to call them, I've got another one of the Dreadnoughts that I'm putting together for them. And maybe I'll get to the other Dreadnought. I got the base out for it and got that, just got to get that one cleaned up. But all the little pieces of resin that go into making one of these Dreadnoughts, there's a lot of articulation and, I mean, I've messed it up, but this piece, I've messed it up before. This piece right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces so far, just for the hand, wrist, and weapon. And that's with the weapon being one piece. So, all right, let's dive into the Idoneth Deepkin. Let's take a look at what Games Workshop has in store for us in the way of teasers. So they're saying Raiders, Kings, and Legends, next week's pre-orders. So these are not what you're going to pre-order this week to pick up next week. We've already done a video on that. This is for what you'll be able to pre-order come next Saturday. So this was the teaser from this morning from Games Workshop. We've got the not the Namarti Thralls, but the Namarti Reavers, and this is the bow unit. So this does confirm beyond a reasonable doubt that the Namarti Thralls is not a sprue that you can turn into the Namarti Reavers. These guys are a different type of troop choice with bows. And they give us a hint here, not at the full stat line, but at how the Whisper Bow works. You can either do aimed fire for an 18-inch range with 1 attack, 4+ to hit, 4+ wound, and 1 damage. Or you can do a storm fire if you're within 9 inches of your enemy and triple the number of attacks at no penalty to damage, hit, or wound. So that makes these guys a very lethal up-close unit. Now, it says here that if you take a Lotan Warden of the Soul Ledgers, and that's the guy with the octopus hanging out behind him, you can use these guys as battle line units. So that's an awesome one, meaning that they're probably not normally considered battle line in most of your armies. So if that's your general, then you'd be able to bring these guys as troop choices, which would make quite an interesting force organization. So now here's an awesome model. This is the guy riding the narwhal, sea dragon, seahorse thing, unicorn, whatever you want to call it. And this guy is appears to be a special character build out there. So here's one with the helmet. He has a helmet there, right? Okay, one with the helmet, one without a helmet. So one of these guys has got to be a special character. It says Volturnos isn't just the greatest living Idoneth Deepkin. He's also rumored to be the first ever elf created by Teclis and is the last surviving member of the Sithai, the first tragic generation of elves to be created. So one of the special abilities that these guys bring to the tabletop, one of these Akhelian Kings, as they're calling them, that the way that the Idoneth Deepkin, they have a special rule set that takes 4 turns. On turn 1, you have a special tide. It's like a tidal ability, and there's 4 different phases of tides that go on a cycle every 4 turns. So on for his ability of Lord of Tides, if you can time your positioning up on the battlefield just right, it says you can use this command ability if this model is your general, and the High Tide ability from the Tides of Death table applies for the battle round. So if you do so, pick a friendly Idoneth Deepkin unit that's wholly within 12 inches, so they can't just be partially or only applying to only the models that are within 12 inches, but the entire unit has to be within 1 foot of your general. You're going to add 1 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons used by that unit until your next hero phase. So obviously it only applies to melee weapons. It's not going to apply to anything with a shooting unit, but something like the Namarti Thralls or one of the cavalry units that you can apply that to, depending on what the stat lines are. This is for each one of the weapons. Add 1 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons. So not 1 to the attack's characteristic of the model. So if you have a model with multiple melee weapons, then it would get multiple benefits plus 1 for each of the weapons. So that's something to consider tactically, and it will only apply to that one particular high tide phase. So it's going to be somewhat situational, but this army is going to always have kind of an ebb and flow to them, pun sort of intended. So here's a look at some information from a couple days ago just to wrap up these Idoneth Deepkin rumors. And this is a sneak peek at some of the monsters that are in the army. And this is in particular the crazy turtle, the battle turtle that's out there. It's like, it doesn't give you special rules, but this is as close as we get to a full stat line on the guy. It's got 16 wounds, which is insane. 3+ save, so this thing is going to be able to shrug off some damage. Especially, I think the low tide, or whatever the first phase of the Tides of Death is, would count this guy as being in cover, if I remember correctly. So all of the models in this army count as being in cover. Bravery of 7, but look at the ability to hit here. And in particular, the Leviadon's crushing jaws. This is 1-inch range. It gets 1 attack. So look at this special thing. 2+ to wound, -2 rend, and d6 damage. But let's take a look at a special ability that pairs with that. So it's got Jaws of Death as a special ability. It says each time you make a hit roll of 6 for this model's Leviadon's crushing jaw attack. So 1 in 6 times, theoretically. That attack inflicts 6 mortal wounds instead of the normal damage. So instead of causing d6 damage, you're causing a hard up 6 mortal wounds to that unit, which is just crazy because that's going to cut most units down, especially considering you still have scything fins, spears, razor shell harpoons, and that's just the melee weapons. Now, if you were to target something like this unit, assuming that the special ability from this general can target one of those types of creatures, it says pick a friendly Idoneth Deepkin unit, so I don't think that this wouldn't apply. Every single one of these melee weapons would get 1 to its attack characteristic, meaning that the Leviadon's crushing jaw would go to 2 attacks, making this a very powerful combination in the high tide phase. So that's something to kind of keep in mind with the combination. This is going to be an expensive army to pick up, and of course you would have to pick up the King model, you'd have to pick up one of these turtle models as well. I'll just call it the turtle, even though it's the Akhelian Leviadon. It's quite interesting names that they've come up with for these. But that's just to show you some of the massive crushing power, let alone the staying power of something with a 3+ save and 16 wounds that's going to stick around the battlefield and just be bashing people left or right. I'm going to call it right now. This is going to be a very highly feared model when it hits the tabletop, to the point of possibly being the next cheese. But it's an awesome model. Definitely something I'd be interested to see how people paint it up with different turtle shell types of paint schemes. But this army proves through and through to be quite the impressive army on the tabletop, at least according to the rule sneak peek we've seen so far. Next week we'll be able to tell for sure on Saturday once the battle tome comes out for the Idoneth Deepkin. In the meantime, stay tuned to Budget Wargamer. Hit that like button on the video. That way it shows your support. It lets YouTube know that you like this video and other people like you may like it, which helps me get more views. We are about 1/3 of a way to 1,000 viewers, 1,000 subscribers, I should say. And I want to take a moment to see if we can find some of the more recent subscribers that have come about as of the last couple days since I did my last video. It seems like YouTube's been glitching and there's been a lot of people subscribing, but I haven't been able to get notifications when each and every new person comes on board. But Caspian Clayson, you are from yesterday. Thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. Appreciate it, dude. Make sure you comment below. Let me know a little bit about yourself, where you come from. Sir Money Grabber, you too, sir. Comment below in the video and make sure you smash up that like button. Let us know you like the videos. I appreciate the sub. And there was a couple more of you guys, because we went from like 225 all the way up to 230, unless the number's gone even higher. Maddie C, thank you very much, sir. And there's a couple more people that have left. Tysetis Baby. I'm not sure that I butchered your name here. Tysetis Baby. Ice Baby. I am not sure, but thank you very much for the sub. If you guys want me to sub back to your channel, let me know in the comments below. Give me a link to your channel. I can sub back to that if that's what you're up for. But we're up to 330 subscribers. We're on our way to 1,000. Appreciate the love.